Hey everyone, Thordan here, and the solo mode for the finals has been out for a few days, and some people are really loving it. However, there are a couple of concerns and critiques that do need to be mentioned before this becomes a full permanent mode, along with some other things that we're hoping to see also come into the game as a mainstay feature, as the finals has actually cracked into the top 10 on most played games on both consoles, Xbox and PlayStation 5, which is pretty impressive. We're gonna go over a lot of information today, but without further ado, let's jump into the topic of the new solo mode. So some of you might have noticed that the finals did introduce that brand new solos mode with the 1.5 patch, and some of you have been absolutely enjoying it if you don't really like playing with your friends, or if you don't, have friends, which is completely reasonable. It's video games, it comes with the territory. However, in this new solo mode, it's called Solo Bank It, and it's an experimental twist that the developers had to be applauded for at least trying to address the community's long-standing request for a solo-friendly gameplay experience. Looking at you, Apex Legends, yes, we did it once, but it's been like 3 or 4 years since we saw it. Anyways, the way this mode works is it's a 12-player free-for-all mode that diverges from the standard team-based gameplay in the finals. That way, you don't have to get yelled at your teammates, or conversely, you don't have to yell at your teammates. You just can sit in self-deprecation as you probably lose the match. The introduction of this mode was actually a response to players' requests for a solo-friendly option. It allows players to compete without having to worry about facing coordinated teams or a 3-stack. However, this mode has been met with mixed reviews because there are some flaws that Embark Studios did when releasing this. Because right now, there are some early impressions that suggest it may not be an ideal solution, at least not in its current state, because the absence of those teammates actually disrupts the game's balance in a weird way. If you've been playing the solo mode at all, you might have noticed that there's an overabundance of light class players dominating the match. There's a lack of variety in viable classes, and the game's large maps contribute to an emptier feel, and hiding becomes just a little bit easier, or ratting basically, to try to win. The need for improvement is evident, and this does actually give us some good feedback that a solo-friendly mode will require careful consideration of not only map designs that are specifically tailored to this, but also making sure that there is class balance and overall gameplay dynamics. Speaking of an earlier game that we just talked about, Apex Legends kind of said the same thing when they introduced their solo mode. Because of the legend abilities, some of them were just found useless. And the finals isn't really that different in that regard, because there are 3 class systems, as we know. Because the equipment gated classes are designed for teamwork in their specific way. For instance, medium class is probably completely useless if you are using the healing beam or the defibrillator. You just don't equip it, which isn't a problem necessarily, because that just means that you don't use those weapons. But it would be really cool to see them actually add specific classes designed for solo mode specifically. Now, of course, there's always going to be feedback on Reddit, and the developers do look at Reddit and on their Discord for a lot of feedback, and players did give their opinions on the solo banquet mode, with some applauding the effort to cater to solo players. But the big thing is, I think people want to see a little bit more, because right now we need more permanent casual modes. Ranked is fine as is. They're going to have to continue to do more tweaks, because it kind of just feels like you just grind up and you will eventually hit the rank you need. So there will be some tweaking there. But for a casual mode, there have been suggestions to include maps with longer sight lines, tweaks to make all classes viable, as we mentioned, and exploration of alternate game modes beyond free-for-all in the solo concept. Some of the coolest ideas I've seen proposed on Reddit so far are a 6v6 team deathmatch, which I don't know if that would necessarily work, but it would be interesting at least, capture the flag, and conquest mode, which could provide diverse and engaging gameplay experiences. And I think this is something Embark is going to do. They've already, in the month that the game's been released, already given us our first LTM, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a little bit half-baked in their at least concept of releasing it, but I do think that it does show that the developers really want this game to last for a very long time. As you can see in this image, the finals is number 6 on most played games on console, which is actually a huge part of its player base despite the aim assist nerf that recently came in. If you can grab the console market and have some kind of grapple on it, that actually ensures that your game is going to be around for a very long time. Just look at Apex Legends, which coincidentally has dropped all the way down to number 16 on the list. There's actually some really interesting ones behind it. Rainbow Six is behind, although Rainbow Six has been dying for a while. Rocket League is behind, Overwatch 2, Halo Infinite. Those are some big titles, maybe not as big as they used to be, but it does show that the finals does have a very solid gameplay and core identity, which if they continue to give us these LTMs and go ahead and refine them, there could be a great future for this game, which I think personally is most exciting for me and probably you as a viewer or a player. But also stop yelling at your teammates if you're not playing solos mode. Come on, don't be toxic. Let me know down below, have you guys been enjoying the solo mode? What kind of tweaks would you make to make it more enjoyable and better? And also, what kind of future modes do you think would fit really well with the current balancing and design of the game, the finals? Also, don't forget to check out this channel right here by my editor Novell, who does amazing finals gameplay and Apex Legends as well. And until next time, everyone, thank you for coming to the video, and I'll see you in the next one.